Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Kerrigan.
Wow. Hello everyone, my name is Kerrigan, this is Witch Talk, and today we're going to dive in a secret knowledge of the trees. It's a very interesting book with a very interesting guest that I have today on Witch Talk, and we're going to talk about trees and the Ogham alphabet and all of that and much, much more. So I have a couple of announcements to make to you because I really think that it's necessary. I kind of jump right away to the interview from the last episodes, and I think that sometimes it's a good thing to actually show you some of the things that I'm doing lately. So first of all, I wanted to tell you that we're not in Facebook too much, so we're going to jump on Google+. Google+ is basically the same, really very similar to Facebook, but I think, in my opinion, a little bit better, more clean, professional, etc. So we have our own page on Google+, which is wonderful, and it really is. We have also the events, and what you're looking at right now is actually an event that we have today, which is the show of today: Spiritual Journeys Through the Celtic Tree Calendar with Sharlyn Hidalgo. So this is what we have here, and you can join us. You can see that there are people who are going. They just said that they're going, and it's a wonderful, wonderful thing to have on Google+. So if you want to join us on our own not Facebook, Google Plus page, you can add us, and it's under my name because Google Plus unfortunately doesn't really take Witch Talk as a name, but I'm just there, so you can just add me and add Witch Talk, and then you will receive all of the announcements that we have. So that's a good thing that we have. Also, we have a lot of things to talk about with our guests, so I'm not going to delay anything anymore. Let's go right to the interview, and let me introduce the guest to you. Here we go. Sharlyn Hidalgo has been a practicing astrologer, dream interpreter, and tarot reader for over 20 years. She teaches classes on Egyptian mysteries and Celtic Tree Calendar, practice alchemical healing, and has worked as a psychotherapist in agencies and private practice. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my guest today on Witch Talk, Sharlyn Hidalgo. Hello, Sharlyn. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, welcome to Witch Talk. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for coming.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so grateful.
Thank you. All right, so this is amazing because this is a very, very good book that I have here to talk to you about. I love this book. We're going to go through the book and we're going to talk about the book. But first of all, I wanted to ask you, how did you begin interested in these kinds of things?
Well, let's see. It's kind of a long road of a lifetime. I think in my 20s, I was interested in tarot and astrology and studied that. Mm-hmm. And was just always interested in spirit, nature, but didn't know what to call it. Even I was raised as a Methodist, so even when I would pray or go to church, I always felt a spirit, but I didn't, call it God or Jesus, or it just was a spirit. Just was a power that I felt. And I liked trees, but they weren't special to me particularly. I played in them and hung from them, and but it was after my son was born in 1981, and he was a very fussy baby. He cried all the time, and my husband was kind of disappointed that I wasn't mothering him, and so it was stressful. It was stressful for me, for my husband, and for the baby. And I just got to a really dark place, feeling like I couldn't go on, didn't know the meaning of life, or, just one of those dark times that we all have. And I ran out the back door and into the arms of a really big mother apple tree, just sobbing. And the tree responded back. There was a vibration, so if I can speak about that was physical, that I could feel through my whole system, my heart, my mind, and it calmed me down. It was like unconditional love. And I remember pulling away from the tree, kind of freaked out, but that I needed it so much, I just grabbed the tree.
Yes.
And then after that, I got up from the tree and went back into the house and carried on. It was just kind of repeating, carried on.
Yeah.
So I didn't think much about that. I didn't think much about it for a long time. I divorced. I went to graduate school in psychology, and studied Jungian psychology. I've always been interested in symbols. And it seems to me that the unseen realm responds to me when I'm in trouble, which is kind of funny. I don't know if that's other people's
experiences.
Yeah. When I was in grad school, I went through a divorce, and I was drinking a lot, and I was just lost and alone, and I kind of came back around to that really difficult feeling. And I remember going to bed saying, I need some help here. If I'm to continue, I need some help. And I had a dream about a dolphin. And dolphin is one of the totems of the ash tree, which I found out later. So in the dream, the dolphin was... just a minute, I have to shut the door here.
It's okay.
The children have arrived.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
And in the dream, well, it's a long dream, but basically, maybe I can go into that or maybe not, but it was really a life and death situation, and the dolphin showed up and gave me a sense of this unconditional love that I got from the apple tree. And the message was, you can do this. I'm going to help you, and you can do this. And yes, life is worthwhile. And yes, go on. There's so much for you to do. So when I woke up the next morning, I knew that I was going to be okay. And I knew that I wasn't alone. And so I often will have dreams like that help me along. And as I studied more and more, I found so many of the totems that came to me in dreams or through the art that I do were associated with the trees. So anyway, I think I remarried. I had another child. I taught school, so I was pretty immersed in everyday life. And it wasn't till about 1993, I think my daughter was 3, that I really wanted to have a connection with spirit, like a living daily connection, and I wanted a spiritual practice. And I wasn't concerned anymore. I didn't think traditional religion was going to do it for me. And my ancestors are from the British Isles. They're Irish, they're Welsh, they're English, Scottish. So I thought, well, what was their ancient? Is there anything about them? Because that's where I come from, and maybe that's where I can
relate
where
to.
I learn. So I just started studying, reading books on Celtic traditions, druidry, along with, astrology that I was studying. And I started teaching classes. I did like new moon ceremonies, full moon ceremonies, the holidays, the Native European holidays, and then came to the trees, and that really spoke to me, remembering my first initial experience with a tree. Then I had some experiences with healings that came through certain conversations, that would happen inside my head. So I always like to distinguish between what you hear in your head. If it's a good thing, it's good. If it's telling you bad things, don't pay attention to it. But these are, because I know we hear voices in our head.
Yes.
But this was medicine from the cedar tree to work with migraines. So whenever I'd be around somebody with a headache, I would follow this particular healing ritual that the cedar tree had transmitted to me. So again, it was like, I have this thing with trees, but it's not like I sought them out. Like they communicated to me.
One of the things, Sharlyn, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's great.
But one of the things that I've noticed on your book is that, and this is not really something that you see or read on an English spoken language person, and native English speaker, is that you call the trees by gender, which is very interesting. You say she is. So you're going to say, for instance, I have I don't know, but you talk about the tree, and you use the she, or you know what I mean. And that to me is normal, because in Portuguese you have that, you do have that. You can actually have the tree. The tree has a gender in Portuguese. You know what I mean? So, and to me, it's always to us, it's always feminine. Trees are always feminine, which is very interesting. But we have, like the Spanish, we have a lot of genders attribute to everything, including cats, dogs, and things like that. So if it is a female cat, we call it a she. It's not a it, because we don't really have it in our language.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And this is just to tell you that I think that it's very interesting to me that you're talking about, it sounds like you're talking about the trees as beings, because you said, I went there and I felt this, and then, and she gave me this, the ritual. The tree gave me the ritual. So it's almost like a spirit. You're talking also like, you know what I mean? So that is a very different intake on how to address trees, because normally people do address them, even mystical people and people connected with, other things. They do address them as it. It's the alder tree, but it's it. You know what I mean? You don't. You don't.
I assumed everybody understood them as beings.
Well, apparently not.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, so what I felt that it was very different about you also, I'm sure that other people will do the same, but this is what caught my eye, was that and still you're looking at it and you're talking about yourself and you're talking about your history, and you're still saying the cedar tree gave me this ritual for migraines, and it's almost like, I went to this woman and she gave me this ritual. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just want to make this point out, which is very interesting to me.
Yeah. Well, they are spiritual beings.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
But, sometimes people don't really look at trees like that. But they do. They are. They have life. They are, they have vibrations. They communicate. And then, some people think that trees have dryads in them. That's another thing, they are inhabited by a spirit of a dryad. That's another thing. But, that's, yes. But go on, I'm sorry.
Different?
I think that they are. Every tree is a being in itself, and I think that that's what I feel, But some trees are inhabited by a spirit other than the tree itself.
Oh,
and the tree doesn't mind, the tree doesn't mind at all. But that's what I think, because I had a couple of friends who had that experience. Not that I'm speaking about my own experience, but I have a couple of people.
It's interesting. I guess I never I just thought...
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's a being with a book. It would be like a tree being that holds a book.
Yes.
That's a teaching.
Yes, yeah. It's very interesting. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. So, I'm sorry, I interrupt you. Go ahead.
I don't know where I was.
Oh, well, you were talking about the migraine ritual that the tree gave you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, so I started collecting, finding books on the tree calendar.
Yes.
And the alphabet.
How did you find the alphabet? Because when I found the alphabet, I was fascinated. The Ogham.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. And I wrote things on it. I had like a whole book written in Ogham. Nobody knew what it meant. Even me. Sometimes I had to type, what did I wrote here? But yeah, how did you felt when you discovered that? When you discovered the alphabet?
It felt like a doorway into the ancient past. I felt an immediate bridge or a road to my ancestors. And and I liked writing with it too, even if I didn't know what it meant.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just, when I teach about the trees, I don't always teach so much about the alphabet, because it's got so much information on its own, and I don't always remember all the technical stuff.
Yes.
But I just value it like it's a real connection to those people that lived when there were trees in Britain.
It's just amazing. And then you talk on your book. I want to go to the book. You know that I want to go to the book. But the thing is that you talk about the druids, and you talk about what they were and how they used it, and it's just fascinating to me that we don't know anything about. I mean, there's a couple of written things about the Ogham alphabet that reached us, but very few. I mean, it's very few. We do know the correspondence. We do know a lot of things because of the Battle of the Trees, which is actually a text that reached us. But very few things, and it's very interesting that you just put it so beautifully in the book. But I'm just interrupting you again. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I state in the beginning that this isn't a history, that I'm not worried about it being technically, historically correct, that I'm really taking what I could find and reading into it to make a spiritual practice for myself that made sense. And so if I see a group of ancient people in a grove in England, honoring the solstice or honoring a newborn baby, it's easy for me to feel being there. It's easy for me to feel into a wise medicine man or a wise medicine woman who shares the knowledge orally, because so much it's not written down, so we don't have it. So I just have to trust that somehow I can feel into that. Because like you said, there isn't a whole lot. But to
No,
me,
yeah.
there's like dream figures that are similar. So if Merlin is an archetype, or Thoth in the Egyptian pantheon, that's the wise teacher, they all are so similar. They're connected with higher realms of understanding and love and knowledge. But it was just the flavor of the Celtic legends, or I guess, that just fired me up. Not that the Egyptian doesn't too, because it does, but
Yeah.
I just felt I just loved that you could have a spiritual kind of connection with people in the forest.
Let me ask you this: when you begin to to be interested in the Celts, were the Celts first and then the Egyptians, or were the Egyptians first and then the Celts?
The Celts. So I did the Celts.
I'm just asking you this because we have exactly the same interest order. So I begin with the Celts, and then I went to the Egyptians, and that was a passion also. So it's very interesting that we had the same sequence of, and it's very interesting because we know it's very interesting. I find some of the things of the Celts also present on, the Egyptians preside to everything. I mean, even Christianity, they do preside to it, because all of the religion of Egypt is very, has many things I should say Christianity has a lot of things from Egypt also, so from the Egyptian religious practice. So it's very interesting to, to see that you have the same sequence that I do.
I read somewhere, and I wish I could cite it because I don't remember that. If you do follow the myth or whatever of Thoth and Atlantis, that he sent to Ireland that teaching, and the language, like the Irish Gaelic language, what I read was associated with that first time.
Oh,
when
very
that knowledge
interesting.
spread throughout the world. I don't know. I don't try to go, is that true or not? I just kind of listen to things and think, oh, I like that story.
Exactly. It doesn't really matter.
I love the idea that that knowledge of Atlantis was spread to the British Isles, and then they took it and made it their own.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, after that, did you engage in any group, or were you like just a lone learner that you didn't want it? You wanted to feel your own thing and didn't really engage in any group? Because at some point, someone in someone's life, you kind of join some group, or if you don't, you kind of go with some kind of tradition.
I did my own circles.
Okay.
So I did circles to honor the holidays. And then I did circles monthly to teach the trees, because as I was, you've got to teach it, see how it responds, how people respond. And there were so many totems and so many teaching, and I could see that people were healing, that it was, that it worked, that it had made a difference in their life, and so I formed a group so that I think we met for 3 years, and I could really see that it was a usable practice.
Why did you continue with that, or you don't do it anymore, or?
Oh, I don't. And what happened is I decided I needed a teacher, a healing teacher. So I started working with Nikki Scully, who teaches alchemical healing arts, and that's sourced in Egypt.
Yes.
So it was really the same work I'd been doing, except the totems expanded and the deities expanded. So the same kind, like, maybe a dolphin would come or a unicorn would come in a healing with a message, but then also the deities of Egypt came. So and alchemical healing is really an energetic. It's kind of like Reiki, but it's not. And also where you'll go into trance with people, and they'll see different deities with messages, particular healings, and people have a really strong, powerful experiences. And there's a lot of love. So that's kind of how I got into Egypt.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Although I have always loved Egypt, I must say.
Yeah, me too. I have a very strong connection.
I saw my first mummy here in Washington in the museum. I didn't want to leave the mummy. And my parents were a little disturbed.
Well, if I was a parent, I would be like, Well, not us, because I'm sure that if your daughter would do that, you would kind of think, oh, maybe she had a previous life, and you know what I mean. But parents that don't really have that connection, they probably thought that it was very weird. Yeah. They thought, sure. And they probably freaked out, thinking, oh my God, she likes that things. So, let's talk about... Go ahead.
I went in, so I learned alchemical healing, and then I started teaching it. Mm-hmm. And had a number of students, that was in 2006. Mm-hmm. And wow. I still had all this tree material, and I thought, well, I'll put it into a book, maybe. So I went to Egypt in 2007, and a really interesting thing happened there that got me to write the book.
Very interesting things happen in Egypt. And what happened in Egypt stays in Egypt. Yes, no, but it's really something, right? That land is amazing. I had a lot of people on the show that had interesting things happening in Egypt.
Oh, it's just totally a powerful source on the planet that will speed up your process.
It's amazing, really amazing.
And uplift your courage and just lead you forward in a good way.
Absolutely. So what happened in Egypt?
Well, I was in the Valley of the Kings, and my particular group got a special privilege to go into Seti, the first tomb, which is not open to the public. And that is one of the most beautiful tombs. Mm-hmm. And going down into it, I hadn't been in a tomb before, so I was thinking, oh, I don't know, the mummy's curse and, death and weird stuff. But I got way down into the bottom, and it's like a beautiful temple down there with wall paintings. And I heard in my head, the good words said, oh, it's the tree lady. She's come to visit.
Who knew that they knew you in Egypt?
And I was just like, oh, I am so crazy. Who would hear something like that in a place like this? So I just kind of put it aside and went in, and we did a ritual there, which I don't remember, but what I do remember is entering the light. And so maybe the 20 minutes of ritual or ceremony, I was standing in light.
Yes.
And so when I came out, it was great because my mind wasn't chattering. I was just euphoric. I was euphoric for a long time.
Yes.
But when I got home from that trip, I thought I really need to either throw this material away or write it, finish it, put it in a form.
In a book, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought I'll throw it. So I took it to the garbage can. And then I went, I can't. I have to put it together. So I did. And it was accepted, very quickly, which people say that can't happen.
Yeah.
But I'm not one to pay attention.
Well,
so it just felt like the trees really wanted this book.
Yeah.
That it was coming through me.
Now, the thing is that you need to listen to the show with Freddie Silva.
Oh, okay.
And because Freddie's incredible, and he has this whole thing about Egypt. He has this whole connection about Egypt. He's connected with the temples all over the world. So it doesn't mean just pyramids itself, but he has a very strong connection with the pyramids of Egypt. You have to listen to his experience because it's absolutely amazing. And then after that, you will know, after you listen to the show with Freddie Silva, you will know that the voices in your head were actually real, not a delusional, sound. No, imaginary sound. No, and he has a very incredible experience inside of one of the pyramids. Absolutely amazing, and it's fascinating. This man is fascinating, and he's Portuguese, from Portugal, from Lisbon.
Oh, how fun too! Yeah,
so
I think he traveled. No, I don't know who he traveled with. I don't know if he traveled with Quest Travel.
He travels a lot. So I don't know if he travels with. But it really travels a lot, and he's absolutely amazing. He wrote this book and it's absolutely amazing about the temples and sacred geometry, and how Stonehenge has this geometry built into it, and and then he goes further. He goes on to how you can build this in your own house. The same kind of energy that you have in Stonehenge and in the pyramids, you can actually reproduce it, opening a portal, that it's exactly the same with sacred geometry and how to build a temple, which is a DVD that he has. And it's absolutely amazing. You have to listen to this man because it's great. It's really, really good. Just because of your connection of Egypt.
Yeah. Have you been to Egypt?
No, never.
Oh.
I'm afraid to go to Egypt and stay there, and I'm going to be arrested because I'm not going to be able to get out of the pyramid. I want to stay here. But the thing is, I think that I do have a very strong connection with the Greeks also. So I never went to Greece. So I think that I have a very huge connection with Greece also. So, but that's the only thing. I have no desire whatsoever to go to China or to any kind of Asian, nothing, no connection. Some people have it. I don't.
Have you been to the British Isles?
Yes, I did. Yes, very nice. I loved it, and I have to go more because we have a lot of friends there, and I really do have to go and to be back again. And I want to travel all over. I went to London, which is British Islands, but it's just the city. So I want to go to Wales. I want to go to all of those magical places, Ireland, Scotland.
I would really like to. Will figure out how to arrange a tour there so that, because these are British trees.
I know.
I really
connect
with these British trees.
Yes, yeah.
And also all different places.
Yes. So let's talk about this book, The Healing Power of Trees. And it's absolutely beautiful. It's called Spiritual. It has another subtitle, which is Spiritual Journeys Through the Celtic Tree Calendar. And it's very beautiful. We have to show, we're showing the book right now, Sharlyn. We're showing the book and the beautiful cover art of I can't pronounce her name, Marilla Allwood. Marilla Allwood did the cover illustration as well as all of the tree illustrations in the book, and she's absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for being for participating on Sharlyn's book, and it's absolutely beautiful. Isn't this beautiful? Well, we have to thank also Lisa Novak for doing the design, which is beautiful, the cover design also. But behind, and we don't talk about this, Sharlyn. We don't talk about the artists that participate in making books. We just talk to the author. To the author of the book, and you should talk about the people that contributed. The book is beautiful. Oh, look, it's a ghost book. You know what? You're not seeing it, but you will see it. You will see it.
And we emailed quite a bit because some of the trees in England are a little bit different than the trees here. that
In
I'm familiar
America,
with.
yeah.
The same
Yeah.
tree, but it grows a little differently. So some of the pictures, there were two pictures I would go, oh, this doesn't quite look like what I'm used to. Ours is a little smaller, like the ivy. She had it like kind of like as a great big tree, which I don't
Yes.
experience that way here in Seattle, in Washington.
Yeah.
And so we had dialogue about the difference and
She's
what they're used to in
absolutely
England. It was
amazing.
pretty fun.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful, and the book is absolutely amazing. I really have to recommend this book. You don't get this, but you will when I tell you it's a ghost book, because when I show the book on the screen, it looks like it's transparent. So it's not really.
Well,
But we have
look at the cover,
we have
if
a
you look
picture.
at the cover, she's got transparency going back. Can you see?
Yes,
there's
I
kind of
can.
a fog behind the tree.
Yes, and then you have a horse, and then you have I think it's
A
a
stag,
deer, a stag, right?
but maybe it's a unicorn.
Maybe it's a unicorn. We don't know. Yeah. Very beautiful. Okay, so let's talk about the book. It's absolutely amazing. You have, first of all, let me tell you how the book is done. And how one of the good things about, and some books have appendixes in them, and they are relevant always, but they are not wow relevant. This book and some of the books that I had here on the show, these appendixes are actually very, very wow, because you put it on the appendix is a lot of information. Not only resources, but also you have a whole ritual in the appendix E, for instance, and you have also the holidays, and I love this Celtic Will of the Year of the 13 Moons. I just love it. And you have also the 25 Ogham letters, trees, and rune chart, which is very good as a reference chart. Now, why did you wrote this? But this is the story. You had the manuscript, so you went to the bean. You didn't really want it. The trees wanted you to kind of, put it together. You have to write this, and then you did it. What were the challenges? What was it easy?
Well, what happened is because I had been teaching it, I had sections on each tree because I'd been teaching it.
Yeah.
But what I hadn't done is put it together, and so I was working at the time. I only had Mondays. So every Monday I would write to put it together, like from 9 in the morning till 5 at night. And every Monday I just wrote until it was completed. What I also had with it was a story for each tree and also a ceremony.
Yes.
But Llewellyn thought it was too long. Or I got actually a change in the person that was handling me with, handling the book, and I think they had two different ideas.
Oh.
So we took out the stories and we took out the ceremonies, and I would really like to get those published separately.
Can they do like a revision?
I don't think they want to.
No.
I think this is the book that they wanted. That's always true when you publish, although since this is my first book, I've just heard that.
Yeah.
The story that goes with it was to show that what I'm talking about is real.
You can write a companion to this.
I can,
which
and,
would
and
be,
I've got that, and I think I will do that.
Yeah, I think that it's important. Now, the other thing is about this book. It's very, very good. And the other thing that it is, well, first of all, let's go through it. How can we use this book?
Well, like you said, it's kind of compact with a lot of information.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't advise a person to read the whole thing first. I would find the time, like if you bought the book in September, I would start with the trees of September.
Yes.
And I would just read that chapter, and it tells what the tree means. It goes into the deities that go with it and the totems that share its teaching, and there's also a guided imagery as well as healing.
Yes.
So I would just do that in September. I would pay attention. I would go out and gather some leaves of that tree, or berries like holly berries or, you know, just that you find along the ground under the tree, bring it home, make an altar, and work with the energies. Do the guided meditation, ask, close your eyes, go inside, take 15 minutes to ask if the tree has a message. So I would go through the year that way. I mean, maybe they would read it first very quickly, but it's so compact.
It is compact, and it has a lot of information onto it. Now, in the beginning, on how to use this book, you introduced the Ogham alphabet, and it's very beautiful. Page 22. It's very beautiful, and it can be read. You can read it vertically or horizontally, and you have the feta, which is the fuse, and you have all of the tables, and then the forfeta, which is the extra fuse. Fuse are just the characters of it, but it's very beautiful. And then you have the runes also. But one of the good things about this is that you do have in each tree, you have not only the description of the tree, the Ogham feta, that it's actually the one of that tree represents, the class of the tree, the holiday of the year, the rune that it's corresponding to that tree, the totem animals that are corresponding to that, are the totems, the astrology, so it will correspond, for instance, if we're talking about birch, we're talking about the Scorpio, October 22nd to November 21st, and then you will have the month, the description of the month, the totem guides and deities of that tree, the guided meditation, the healing, and that's it, right? See how compact this is? It's very good. It's very good. Now, the one thing that I want to ask you is, you suggest here on the Ogham, you suggest that you can do actually an oracle out of it, right? With the tree, you can actually do the Ogham alphabet and the corresponding tree to each of the feta, which is wonderful. And then you have the significant thing about the description of the Ogham, which is very good on each tree. How can you do this Ogham oracle?
Well, there's actually sites on the internet that will write them on. I have a set that are written on oak.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And so I can throw them. Or because there's so many, I usually just pick a few if I haven't, maybe for the day, or if I have a decision I have to make, or some point that needs a little more input. Yes, I could just pick those and see what they're
saying. Yeah.
And then because I know which ones go with which tree, I also have that knowledge of what the tree says that goes with that.
Now, why do we need to follow? Why follow? This is one of the questions. Actually, I'm just doing questions that you have in your book, and that you answer in your book. Why do we follow the moon calendar instead of the solar calendar? In this case,
I think that the moon. I think the ancients followed the moon. That gets me closer to ancient times.
Yes.
Which for me is a purer form, or closer to nature.
Yes.
So, the calendar is for 13 moon months, and there's 15 trees, but 2 of them share. And I guess as a woman, but it wouldn't matter, I'm drawn to the moon.
Yes.
I'm drawn to the mother. I'm drawn to the daily change that I can see. Solar to me seems more, at least in talking about time, more modern.
Yes. Yeah.
Does that answer?
Yes. Now, of all of the trees, I know this is like, okay, from all of the children that you have, pick one. So, from all of the trees, is there any a couple of them that you really kind of connect with very easily, and that you have a fondness towards?
Well, because I'm a Taurus.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm a Taurus too.
Oh, so I like the oak.
Yes, me too.
I like to.
Yes, the oak.
I like the oak, and
yes.
I also. This is funny for me. The tree. The teaching of the tree has connected me with the unseen world in such a strong way.
Mm-hmm.
And that also happens to me through dreams. So can I tell you the short dream about the oak I had?
Absolutely, yes. Go ahead.
Okay, so there's an oak tree with a door, and I open it and go in. It has a little round window on the door, so I can see out. And all of a sudden, these young hoodlums come and start slamming on the door and tell me they want me to come out. And I say, go away, and I'm scared. And they keep banging on the door. So I open the door, and I go out, and I just kick their butt. I do all these, karate things.
Yes.
And they run away. And then I go into my tree, and I just feel so powerful. Mm-hmm. So when I wake up the next morning, I'm feeling, wow, that was really cool. And I have to go talk to the car place that has put in a water pump that I didn't need.
Yes.
So I have to go confront them.
Yes.
So I just think of the dream and the strength of that tree, and I just kind of have it in my body because I had this dream experience with the tree. And I do a really good job of getting them to, or talking to them about the situation, and then taking out the water pump and giving me my money back. Mm-hmm. But there seems to be a definite exchange between the tree, through the dream, and daily life that happens. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's awesome.
Yeah,
so that tree
very good.
Like a really strong, helps me to be strong when I need to be.
It's very interesting because I don't know. I mean, the totem animals are the bull. It's one of them. It's the bull, and then you have and Taurus is actually the sign, obviously, of this tree. But sometimes you do feel this connection with the tree, and I really don't know why. Is it there? And then you go and see, oh, it's my sign. So it's like, oh, all right. And it's very interesting. The other thing is that the oak, which is dewar, or deer, and it's actually the one of the theories said that it's one of the origins of the origins of the word druid, comes from the oak, which is very interesting, and it's Beltane, May Day. It's fantastic. You can't really ask for more than that. So that's very beautiful. And Persephone, of course. And
all of it. It's great.
I know.
Is the oak your favorite tree?
Yes, it is. Yes,
that's
it is.
So sweet.
Yes, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, I do have others, but when I see an oak, I have to touch it. I have to go there. I talk to the trees. People think that I'm crazy, of course. They all do. They all think that we're crazy. Do I care? No. And and so I do. And I can talk to them. But the oak, I have to go and I have to touch it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I do touch it, and I don't think that it's an oak, but I touch it, and then it's an oak. You know what I mean? So it's really interesting that you have that connection, and
also I'll tell you, as you get older and older, you care less and less what people think in terms of if
course.
they're if they're thinking you're crazy.
You're past adolescence. You don't care about what your peers say.
I don't care so much.
Me neither.
I find when I really talk about it, that people are interested, even people I would think wouldn't be.
Yes,
I
know.
always get that lesson. I'll say that person is too conservative, or that person is too something. And then as I get to know them, they're fascinated.
It's absolutely amazing. Now, one of the things that it's very interesting, I do believe that names are very important, and I do believe that the correct way of saying them is also very important. That's why, and this is a little piece of things that I learned with David Gother, a fantastic occultist, and a man that has many interests also. But one of them is Kabbalah, and he's a very, very important teacher of the Kabbalah. And he says, people say, oh, the Kabbalah, but that's all Jewish and Hebrew and blah, 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 and why do we have to do that? Well, the thing is that we lost the holy names. We don't know how to say them. The only thing that actually survived was through the holy names of the Kabbalah. And they actually know how to say it. So the ancient names of the gods or the archetypes are actually preserved in the Hebrew names of the Kabbalah, which is absolutely amazing. And that's why the Kabbalah works so well. So I do believe that it doesn't matter what it is because it comes from Egypt anyway. So the thing is, I think that one of the most important things, all of this that I've talked now, goes back to your book, and because I think that it's important to say the correct words, and you do have the spelling here, which is absolutely amazing. The way of saying it, the phonetics of the trees, which is very interesting. It's very interesting, and sometimes we do have it from languages and ancient languages, Gaelic and things like that. But it's very important to call them, and sometimes as a mantra, it works. If you call the tree by saying the word, and prolong the vowels and all of that, it really, if you want to summon them, or their energy. Don't you feel that will work? I don't know. I'm just kind of...
Yeah, I do. I really do. And yet I am so... I feel so inadequate about it being, an English speaker in the United States. Like if I look at the birch tree, and the way it's said, I believe, is Beth. But we say Beth or Beth or, because I haven't heard the actual... saying.
Do you have anyone that can actually tell you how to?
No, but I would like to find that. And so like I'm saying I was just kind of
What is this? This is Gaelic? This is Gaelic, right? Obviously.
I'm not sure.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
And I'm saying this is something I could research and write down, but it's not something that I heard.
You have to listen to it. I think it's the OBDO. OBDO. They have the Order of Druids of England, the Order of Bards, Ovats, and Druids.
Yeah.
They have. I think they had a cassette with the names of the trees and what they were and blah blah. And
I would like to do that, but I didn't do it in preparation of the writing of the book, but I always felt like, this is something I wish I knew about that I don't know.
Yeah.
Which goes to show that you don't always have to know everything.
To actually connect effectively with the things. Yeah, absolutely.
But I agree with you. I mean, that's a piece that
if you say, for instance, I don't know, Beth, but, but you can just prolongish the name and kind of vibrate it a little bit and see what happens. Maybe it will work. Yeah, I'm sure it will.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it will. So, an absolutely amazing book. We're talking with Sharlyn
Hidalgo.
Hidalgo.
It's Spanish. Hidalgo.
It is. Hidalgo.
There you go.
Hidalgo.
Yeah.
Because people, when I asked, they actually said Hidalgo.
I know. It's just, that's just the way it is.
Yeah. It's Spanish. Yeah, it is Spanish. So I should know how to say it. So
you've been in the States too long.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I'm talking with my mother in Portugal, and she said, "What are you talking about? I'm not understanding what you're saying." And I'm like, "What is the word? What is the word? That word? What is that? What? And she said, "I don't know. Stop doing that." So yeah. So the thing is that this is a absolutely fantastic book. Now you do have a wonderful website that I want to show people.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about it. And we're going to kind of look at it. And let me, before we go there, let me just talk about the appendix, which is very good because I have to talk about it. Now, one of the things that I love is that sometimes, you can sneak things in the book through the appendixes. The appendices, you can actually sneak things in. So you actually put the vowels and the consonants and vowel combinations on the appendix A.
Yeah.
Which is very, very good. And then you put it also, and this is very interesting. You put it. Why did you put these? Why did you felt that this was necessary? The vowels and consonants and vowels combinations.
That's a good question.
Hmm.
I just felt like it's a
it was missing
alphabet, and I also think that the symbols at the end, the forfeta,
yes,
are strong teachings. I think it's all strong teachings, so I needed to have all of it in there. A lot of books will mention them, but they won't go into them too much.
They don't.
And I guess they were part of my children too.
Some of them, people just disregarded them because they are like, oh, no, they're not, But it's not, it's beautiful. Appendix B, it's the 25 Ogham letters, trees, and rune chart. This is absolutely amazing. This is one of the best charts ever. And this is very interesting because you can actually just look at it and know immediately what it is.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Appendix C, the Celtic wheel of the year and the 13 moons. Which is really, really handy because you want to know, well, what is the moon in February? And you know what it is, seed moon in March and all of that. So it's really, really, and then you have the light half of the year and the dark half of the year. You have all of the festivals.
I had to fight with the publisher about this because they put in kind of started everything with the winter solstice.
Yes.
And actually it starts on October 31st. So, this is the chart that I wanted.
Yes. Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Because you wanted Samhain, right? You wanted to begin in Samhain. Yeah. October 31st. Yeah. Well, you have to come to Salem and see our festival here.
When is it?
Samhain. It's Samhain. It's on Samhain night.
Okay, yeah.
And it's on Gallows Hill. You know the history of Salem, right?
Yes.
And Gallows Hill is where they actually hanged the people on the witch hunt hysteria in 1692. And oh dear.
There you go.
And so we do a ritual in Gallows Hill with the Temple of Nine Wells. It's absolutely amazing because there is a pilgrimage that goes from downtown Salem up to the Gallows Hill. Hundreds of people, hundreds and hundreds. So it's a huge circle. And then you get into the Gallows Hill, which was the place where they hanged them, and you honor not only the dead, but also those who actually died in 1692. So it's significant. It's absolutely amazing. It's beautiful when there is a part of the ritual that you actually hear people that you can actually say the names of the people that are gone, that you love, but that they are gone, and then you hear people saying, names of people, Beth, John, but thousands of. It's just amazing. It's very moving.
It reminds me too of this. What I learned by doing this book is how this tree teaching and this druid influence was not afraid of death and always kept strong guidance from the ancestors and from loved ones that have passed on and from animals that had passed on.
Yes.
So I really liked to find a teaching that said, death was a doorway, not an ending, and
Yes,
that we can
exactly.
still communicate.
Yes, yes. So we're looking at your website.
Okay.
And it's Alchemical Healing Arts. Here we are. So it's alchemicalhealingarts.com. Everything together. So there's no spaces, no uppercases. It's just lowercase, www.alchemicalhealingarts.com. And you have a lot of things. Now, one of the things that I really wanted to talk to you about is your travel to Egypt, which is something that you do, right? And you do this. There's a general itinerary for Egypt 16-day tour, maximum 16 participants.
My first group in May, and it was awesome. I had so much fun, and being able to lead ceremony in those powerful sites with with Isis and Horus and Sekhmet and all these deities was just the highlight of my life.
How does people in Egypt kind of deal with this? Because I've heard so many people say, "Oh, we do a ceremony, it's fine," and I'm like, how can you do this? This is like, how do you deal with, permissions and things like that? Is that difficult or not?
Well, I have a friend whose name is Mohammed Nazmi, who owns Quest Travel. And in fact, I just completed writing a book about him.
Oh.
And he has understood, he's Muslim, he has his travel company, but he has understood that people need alone time in the sites. So since he started his business 20 years ago, he has run trips for like Greg Braden, Gene Houston, Nikki Scully, many, many people. And he has worked out with the antiquities department alone time. So we have like a 2-hour ending ceremony in the King's Chamber in the pyramid. That's all part of the trip. It's part of the cost. We pay for it, but we get this private time.
That's amazing.
So
Very good.
he has understood the power of Egypt, and he also understands that when Westerners come to Egypt, they get over a lot of their fears because they see the truth about the Egyptian people and the truth about Muslim people. So he's kind of a peacemaker, and he's also an incredibly spiritual man who is given this service really to bring people together.
That's amazing. That's very interesting. Now, you do have also your blog, which is Alchemical Healing Arts, the same thing, but .blogspot.com. And you have newsletters, right? Alchemical Healing Arts and Sharlyn Hidalgo newsletters. Hidalgo. And so we're looking at it, right? And you do you have more than, you have, February. You have 2012 here.
And I've just written a new one, but I haven't put it up yet.
Okay, so you're going to do it. And it's very interesting. It's just, what can we read in these newsletters?
Well, I try to make it personal. So I mean, one time I asked people before I wrote it what was going on for them, so that I could address their situations. Usually it's a lot about fear, and it's a lot about, how can we trust in what we can't see? And so I kind of will use examples of maybe what I'm going in, and then how I use that particular tree, or how I shouldn't say use, how I really ask permission from that teaching or that tree for guidance, or for strength, or for humility, or for whatever it is that I seem, forgiveness, understanding. And I think it's the personal application that makes the difference.
Now, you do also, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but there's so much information out there.
Yes.
About everything, lots of spiritual information, but it's hard to know how to apply it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Now, the other thing is that you do services. You have services here, and one of them is the alchemical healing. And you are a certified practitioner in teaching of alchemical healing in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
You do also a tarot and astrology classes, of both tarot and astrology, and you do readings also.
Uh-huh.
And then Egyptian mysteries. You are a teacher of the Egyptian mysteries, and you prepare the groups to go to Egypt. So, and then you have also the mysteries, the British mysteries, which you teach also. The tree book, the tree calendar, as we talked about on this book, which is absolutely amazing. Then you have mind treatments and manifestation. You say that you teach classes on manifestation by using mind treatments as development thoughts. Ernest Holmes, founder of religious science. What does this mean?
Well, yeah, it's a whole nother thing. Ernest Holmes started something called religious science. He studied all the different spiritual traditions and kind of took out the things about manifestation. So he kind of showed that we are creating all the time through our thinking, but we can be more intentional about what we're thinking. So there's an actual formula for anything that you're trying or that you would like to have occur in your life. You can do a mind treatment for. And it just really is involving, I can just do a quick one for you. They're very simple. It's like first identifying that there's a great universe, universal mind, however you want to say that. So I know that there's a great universal force that is first cause of everything. I know that I am part of that I create in a similar fashion because of my consciousness. And my good right now is to have a really fun doing this interview. And I know that this is so. I send this out to the universe for its manifestation with gratitude.
Yes.
It's very simple. And let it. And it influences. It really works with how manifestation occurs.
Yes.
I feel the joy of doing the universe, doing this interview. I feel the possibilities. So it's a positive spin on how I use my mind.
That's very good. Now let's talk about the possibility with gratitude of having Llewellyn looking at this fabulous illustrations of each tree and do an oracle deck for you. And this is absolutely amazing, and I think that it should be done because it's a waste if it's not done, because Alwood is a genius when it comes to illustrations. And you have that desire, right? You have that desire of having, and we would love to have this in a oracle deck. So Llewellyn, if you're listening to us, please talk to Sharlyn and do an oracle deck for us, because we consumers want an oracle deck from Llewellyn about the healing powers of trees. All right?
You think that is amazing? Yeah, because
we want that.
They already have a picture for each tree that's gorgeous.
Yes, yeah. So it's not really too much trouble.
I don't think so.
The art is paid for already, Llewellyn. So it's not that you have to pay it again.
I would be honored to write the text for the different trees in a shorter book, in a small book.
It's beautiful.
Thank you for that. That would be heaven.
Well, we want that. We really, and you know what? If there is a demand on it, so if there are listeners here, you can actually write to Llewellyn and ask for this. And the name is Sharlyn Hidalgo. So you can say, Sharlyn Hidalgo has this book about healing powers of trees. I know that there are beautiful illustrations in the book. When is the deck coming out? And if all of the people that are listening to us will email Llewellyn, which is basically www.llewellyn.com. We will have the deck in no time. So that's what we want.
They've actually said yes.
Oh, okay.
But then there's no correspondence. It's been a long time, so.
Okay, all right. So maybe they will have like a lot of stuff going on, but we want that. And people in the chat room are actually saying that would be a lovely and wonderful idea. So, Llewellyn, listen to us.
Oh,
These
Llewellyn,
are we love you, and we have to have this deck right away. So
thank
please
you, Kerrigan.
do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we do have to have it. All right. So there's Alwood is so beautiful. I mean, she's absolutely amazing when it comes to illustrations, and I think that it deserves this beautiful. And I love this. Well, I don't know if you noticed. Probably you did. On the healing power of trees, on the center of the book, there is this almost like this maze made of where the title resides. Yeah, it's almost like a maze made of branches and leaves, right? It's beautiful.
And then there's lots of little animals.
Details. Yeah, details.
The totems.
Yeah. It's absolutely amazing. I would love to have her talking with us about how was the process of creation of this, and how did she came about with the it would be wonderful.
I have her contact information I can give to you.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and
I'm going to talk to her too.
You have your dolphin in here. Did you notice on the back? Yeah. So thank you so much, Sharlyn, for being here and for sharing with us the history and the story, your story and the history of this book, and your wisdom with us in Witch Talk. Thank you so much for being here.
It was so delightful and easy, and I so appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. Don't go anywhere. Don't hang out. I'm
Okay,
going
bye.
to just close.
I'll be here.
I'm going to close the show, but I will be talking to you in a minute, okay?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on Witch Talk. Thank you for being here. Thank you. So that's basically it. This is the end of this show with Sharlyn Hidalgo. Now we're going to go on next week with another wonderful guest for you. Until then, have a wonderful, wonderful week. Bye-bye.